Okay, guys. So, what are we going to be doing today? We are going to analyze IPL 2025 mega auction using GenAI. We just saw a lot of teams in India spent a lot of money buying cricket players in Indian Premier League mega auction that was held a few days ago. So we will try and see whether the teams have made a good call regarding their bid prices for different players. Okay. And we'll do that using GenAI in Google Sheet. Okay, but you can replicate the same process in Python as well or in Excel as well. My name is Pratik Agrawal, guys, and let me show you what we are going to achieve today. Just a second. Let me directly go to this sheet. Now, here, I have asked one question. The question is, give me the name of the bowler with best strike rate who received the lowest bid at the IPL auction without any leading text. This we will talk about why I have given that. And this drive link, okay, is the link where I have uploaded all the data about the players and their base prices, their bid prices, and their performance in T20, including IPL. Okay. So I've got that data completely uploaded into a Google Sheet CSV file, and I've saved it into in my Google Drive, and I have made it viewable by anybody in the world. All right. So now, when I run this statement, when I run the program which is running behind the scene and which is what we will see how to build today, you will see that it will end up giving us the answer. Right now, it is running behind the scene, and now it gives me the answer as Mayank Yadav. Now, this, and similarly, you can ask any kind of question, right? You could change it to name of the batsman and give me the name of the two batsmen with best strike rate and uh, highest runs. I hope you all can hear me loud and clear without any echo or anything.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you. Let me run this now and we will see the magic. This is the old response. Now it says Rajat Patidar and Travis Head. Why is it not giving us more information? The reason why it is not giving us more information because of my prompt. My prompt says very clearly without any leading text. So it's being very, very focused, it's giving you one word answer. Batsman with best strike rate and highest runs who receive the lowest bid. Ashley. Lowest bid as well, Ashley. Not just the highest bid. Look at the question. The question is slightly more twisty in nature, if I were to say that, Ashley. Yeah. All right. So, guys, we will now see how to build a tool like this, which can analyze, in our case today, IPL case data. However, before doing that, I am going to talk a little bit about the sponsor, which makes sense to do that. The sponsor of today's workshop is Ivy Pro School, and they have spent approximately 17 years in the world of data, AI, analytics space in India, as well as outside of India. They work with large Fortune 500 clients as official learning partner of them. And they have offices, in major cities in India. They're expert. They have collaborated with NASCOM, IBM, and IIT Guwahati as well to deliver Gen AI, data engineering, ML ops, data science, data analytics, business analytics courses as well. Okay, so they offer both offline as well as online live classes, guys, and alumni base is around 32,500 plus in 500 plus firms. You can check their courses out on their website as well as there are some links that my teammates will share, and or you can just reach out to me as well after the session. So that's about the sponsor, guys. My name is Pratik Agarwal. If you want to be connected with me, I have spent approximately 2 decades in the world of data and decision sciences, data, AI, and so on and so forth. So if you want to be connected with me, just hit me ping on LinkedIn. Just type my name, Pratik IB, on Google. The first link that you will get would be my link. I'll be more than happy to be connected with everybody. I do accept connection requests from everyone. So that's about the session, and about me. As I said, I've spent around 20 years in this industry, and some of the startups that I am currently part of, Gen AI. Some of the startups that I have co-founded. One of my favorite one is Time to Justice.ai. You may want to check them out. You can check them out for free. You can actually use this tool as a as a legal assistant, as a tax assistant. You can also do instant background check, something that could be a great thing for many people. For example, here, if you give just the names, it can pull up all the information about just the name and the number. It can pull up all the information about that individual. So it's pretty interesting if you want to give it a try. Instant background checks. So you can actually know what the government has on you as well. Okay, I'm not going to show the profile here, but you can definitely give it a try. Okay, it's pretty interesting. So these are some of the things that I am currently involved in the world of Gen AI. At IB also, we are building a lot of Gen AI tools. One of them is we have already built one tool, which is AI assessment engine. And yeah, so yeah, I mean, I'm pretty crazy about AI and Gen AI. So, all right. People who want to access the recording, we will upload the recording on IV's YouTube channel. So, you will get it if you are a subscriber on IV YouTube channel. Alrighty. What I'm going to do is I'm going to directly go into the working of what we just saw, which is essentially second, let me open, which is essentially to build that IPL auction analysis tool. Let me open this document. Okay. So I decided to use this document instead of a PowerPoint because, there are steps involved that we will do. But the idea is that I've kept in mind that, many of you may be completely non-programmers, although I will be using some code, but we will rely on ChatGPT to build those codes. And I'm going to tell you how easy it is to do so. Alrighty. So this is going to be the process. We're going to use Gen AI to analyze the data. Step one, you will upload your IPL auction CSV data and type a prompt into Google Sheet, which is what I did, if you notice here. I will share all the documents. Yes, Shubham, but I don't want to do it right now. The reason why I don't want to do it right now, because if I do it now, you will try to do it right away, right with me, and then you will probably not be asking me some good questions. Because I will be sharing this recording on IBS YouTube channel. So first ask me some good question, understand the concepts, and then, you can definitely work later as well. So first we will upload the CSV data on Google Drive, and then we'll give a link to that Google Drive along with a prompt in a Google Sheet, which is what we have done over here. Yes. Um, if you notice here, sorry, the class is completely full. So if anybody is joined on YouTube, feel free to ask questions on YouTube and I'll be notified of the question that you're asking there. So the first thing is that here, if you notice, I have given a link which contains the CSV data. Second is the prompt. So that's what we will do in step number one. Then the script will grab the data from your Google Drive, which is the link that we gave, and then it sends the data and your prompt to GPT-4o. Actually, I will just mention 4o. Yeah. All right. And then we will do what? What is the next thing that we will do? We will use GPT-4o model to process the data and generate a response. We'll use GPT-4o model to process the data and generate a response, and then you will get to see the response back in Google Sheet, like how we are seeing the response back in Google Sheet. Is that making sense, everybody? Yeah, great. Okay, now, so just looking at the questions, if there are some people who are watching on YouTube. Okay, very good. So now let's see how it works. First, input the data. Now, what is there in that CSV file? Let me show you that also. The CSV file contains, let me open, and I'm going to share the CSV file. This is a file that we downloaded from uh, IPL's official website, as well as we kind of added a few things. For example, if you notice, name of the player, the team, the role, what was the base price if they were sold, what was the final price, matches played. Now, I have not shared any files with anybody, CSI. Matches played, and then we have number of innings batted, number of not outs, all the data about the player, highest score, batting average, and whatnot, number of scores, 200s, 550, number of sixes hit, wickets, economy. So bowlers, if the player is a bowler as well, so wickets, economy, bowling average, bowling strike average, 5 wickets haul, and so many other data points are there, right? As you can see. So a lot of data points are available for every player, right? So we can actually do all the analysis that we want to do in the world for these players, right? So that is what it, so the data contains everything. I'm trying to see how many, yeah. So approximately 229 players were sold as per this data. Should be correct because this is what we downloaded from the official sites. All right. So this is the data. So this is our data, as you can see. So you paste the CSV link. Now, of course, remember about the data one thing. Where is the data? Yeah, this is the data. Now, remember one thing about the data, that this is the data. Yeah, make sure that it is shareable with a viewing access with anyone. Otherwise, when we extract the data from from the Google Drive, it could be a challenge, could be a problem, access problem, permission problem. Okay. So that is what I have done it, which is very easy. Right click, share, and then you click on the share. You make it viewer so that anybody can view it. I'm not asking you to give an editor permission so that they change it. I'm just saying they should be able to view it. Okay, as simple as that. Now, let's go back to our steps. Then the second step is, and also be ready with your prompt. I mean, here, if you notice, I've written a prompt, but you could write any prompt that you want. Any intelligent question that you want to ask, you can actually put it over here, right? So that is the prompt. So the data and the prompt. Then this is where, once we have given these two things, the prompt and the CSV data link, remember this is a Google Drive link, right? Uh, Once we have given that, then our Google App Script, and I'll show you what that means, is the code which runs behind Google Sheets. Google App Script will fetch the data from the CSV file which you have given in Google Drive, right? And we will see how I have used a GPT to create this function for me. It's a very simple function. Even if you have never seen any coding language in your life, but if you know English, you will be able to understand what that function is doing. Then it will send the extracted data. Which extracted data? The CSV extracted data, right? To GPT-4o. I'm changing the model. Actually, I'm using GPT-4o model, which is by OpenAI, the mother company of ChatGPT. The script sends both your data and the prompt GPT-4 to GPT-4o for processing. For processing. GPT-4o, the large language model by OpenAI, which works behind ChatGPT as well, will generate the insight. Basically, will answer the question using the data using the files data that we have uploaded in the CSV, and then it will display the results in Google Sheet. So these are the 5 steps, very easy 5 steps that we are going to be implementing in today's workshop, right? Now, what are the things before we even go into doing any of these things? You do need a few things with you beforehand. Now, what are those things that you need? The first thing that you need is an API key. Now, what is an API key? API key is the way any software service provider will verify that you are a customer of that software service provider, and they can also monitor the uses, how much of software uses you have done. In terms of large language model industry, the companies like OpenAI, which is the mother company of ChatGPT, Anthropic, which is the mother company of Cloud, uh, Meta, which is the mother company of Llama, Google Gemini, and many other large language models, which are created by all these mega tech, big tech companies. If you want to subscribe to their LLMs so that you can prompt some questions and so that they can answer back to you, and that too you want to do it from within your own user interface. In our case, our user interface is Google Sheet. In ChatGPT case, the user interface is ChatGPT interface. But let's say you are working as an enterprise, or you have created your own project, you of course want your own user interface. In our case, right now we are using Google Sheet as an interface, but if you knew how to do front-end programming, which is again not very difficult, you could have done it in a web portal as well very easily. But for now, we are using Google Sheet as our user interface. And this user interface is what is connected to OpenAI, which is what is going to be connected to OpenAI uh, service. I will just draw this diagram as well so that everybody understands it. Shubham's question is, so is it like that we have to use one app in another app so that we need API key? Absolutely right, Shubham. You see, it's like an ecosystem, right? I say that AI has become the electricity of today's world, right? Just like you have electricity providers, which we call them as discoms, right? Distribution companies, which distribute electricity to our homes. The electricity providers give us consumer number or the customer number, right? And based on the consumer number, the electricity providers track how many units of electricity have we consumed in a month. And based on the number of units of electricity that we consume in a month, they give us a bill that we pay at the end of the month. Similarly, in the world of AI, if you want to use an intelligent service by a service provider, by an AI service provider, which is what OpenAI, Google, Meta, even Microsoft, and all these companies, Amazon's Anthropic, all these companies have now created their own large language models where they rent artificial intelligence as a service, which they call it now as intelligence as a service, right? IaaS. So there, if you want to subscribe to AI so that you can use in your own softwares, then you have to get, instead of a consumer number, you have to get an API key, right? So let's look at any intelligent software in today's time, right? Most of the intelligent software, I wouldn't really say any intelligent. So there is a LLM provider. I'm using LLM, but it could be large language model. It could be large text model, large image model. It could be large video model, large audio model. Depends upon what kind of service that you want to connect to. So LLM provider. Here I'm taking an example of OpenAI. Hey guys, I know people are excited about scribbling. You absolutely can scribble, but I mean, what's the point? All right. So as I was saying, OpenAI or Google Gemini or Anthropic, which is where Amazon has invested $4 billion just a few days ago. So this is Amazon's, this is Google's, this is OpenAI or Microsoft, and then you have Llama APIs as well, right? So these guys, they allow you to subscribe to their service, to their LLM or AI service. And when you subscribe, you are given an API key, a secret API key, which I'll tell you how to create as well. And once you have the secret API key, then whenever they send you a response back, there is a token user. So token is nothing but the unit. Like in electricity world, we have unit of electricity. Here in the world of AI, generally every token is yes, you can also work with now open source LLMs as well, like Bloom, and there are many Neha, as Neha is pointing out. The only difference is that the closed source or the paid LLM providers, their service is slightly easier to work with. But absolutely, you can actually host Llama, in fact, Llama, in fact, allows you to host their mini models on your computer as well. You can do that also. It's not a problem. I mean, in Ivy Pro's Gen AI course, we also talk about that in level 2, that how can you host your own LLMs in your own machines if you have that much of resources, right? And yes, so you can have your private LLMs as well, which you do not have to pay. You just download. But the only thing is you have to train it then. You have to provide that much of data to train it and manage the infrastructure to do so. All right, very good. Now,
Yes, sir.
yes, a question somebody asked, apparently. No. Okay. Now, who is subscribing, and how are you subscribing? So we understood that if we want to subscribe, we need the API, application programming interface key. It's like a window to the LLM providers, and they manage, sorry, they track our users using the tokens, right? In a text model, one token, or let's say 1,000 words, sorry, 1,000 tokens is equivalent to 800 words. Generally, that is the uses pattern that we see. Words, not characters, okay? Words. 1,000 tokens is equivalent to 800 words. So that means if you write 800 words, or if your response is up to 800 words, you will probably be paying approximately 1,000 tokens. But just to give you an example of a pricing of a 4.0 mini kind of a model, I think you pay around 20 cent per million token, per 10 lakh tokens, okay? So you have enough money to play with, enough room to play with these tokens, okay? Alrighty, now let's say, where is the software? I know people are suggesting, why don't I turn off the annotation? The only issue is that if I turn off the annotation, my annotation will also go away. That is the reason why I do not turn off the annotation, but let me check if I can turn off the annotation for everybody. So that option is, I know, I'm sure that is there somewhere, but I do not remember. Anyway, I don't want to waste time. Alrighty. Okay, great. Now, where is our software? Where this is the other software service provider. This is the LLM software service provider, as we spoke about. And a typical, most of 99% of the AI softwares that you're seeing online, or that you keep hearing about online, typically what they do is that they create a user interface. And that user interface, or that software, connects the users, right, to the large language service providers through API key. So whenever a user asks any question, it is asked in a user interface that takes the question or the prompt, puts it, joins it with the API key, sends it to the LLM, gets a response back, and shows the response to the user. This is So this API layer, let's call that as API layer, is kind of what you normally see. Most of the companies, most of the AI companies that you keep hearing online on LinkedIn and whatnot, they're not really building LLMs. The reason why they're not building LLMs, because building LLMs require you to have access to that much of data, and to have the computational computer resource, supercomputers, to train that much of data as well. So most of the time they end up using these service providers, and there is nothing wrong. I mean, there are many companies which have raised millions of dollars doing just this. You have to find a very strong use case for it, right? Okay, okay. So in our case, this is your Google Sheet, right? And we are using OpenAI's API to access the LLM by OpenAI. Already. In plus, our user interface is slightly more complicated, because we are saying we can also link to Google Drive. That means it's not just normal question and answer kind of a thing. Here, we have linked it to an external storage place as well, which makes it very interesting, because then you can actually ask any question on any files which are stored anywhere in Google Drive or OneDrive, and get intelligent responses from those files as well, right? Specifically from those files. So that is the architecture that we'll be looking at today. All right. let's go behind the scene now, and let's go to, I hope, let me remove this. Okay, now let's go behind the scene a little bit and let's understand what is happening in our code, right? To understand the code that I've written, I mean, I have asked GPT to write for me. Okay, sorry, before that. Yeah. So you need the API key that I will tell you how to get the API key. We'll upload the CSV data that we have seen how to upload the data, and then we'll write the prompt. Now, in order to get the API key from OpenAI, it's pretty simple. You go to Google and type OpenAI API. And of course, there is no free trial anymore. OpenAI used to give some free $5 free trial, which used to be good for like good 5 to 6 months earlier, but they have now abruptly stopped it. But believe me, guys, $5 is what normally they take, and in $5, you can use it for like good 5 6 months, unless you really try to abuse. And the only way to abuse it, that you end up building a lot of user apps on GenAI, which is a good thing. It'll have a good learning. So I do strongly recommend, guys, while there are many free versions available, however, OpenAI is very easy to work with. So invest $5 to begin your learning journey. After that, you can explore the more complex and open source models as well. Okay. It's very simple to work with. And there are a lot of manuals available, a lot of help available for OpenAI. So you just sign up and then, you go there and then in fact, I'll show you how I've done it. Let me just log in. I must have already logged in somewhere. Yeah. And when you are here, go to the dashboard. Under the dashboard, once you're logged in, once you've signed up and logged in into OpenAI API, go to API keys under the dashboard, and then you can click on create API, and it creates, you give it a name, let's say Bootcamp on, what is this, IPL auction 2025. Right? I give any name, and then it shows you the API key. You copy it. Remember, it shows only once. That's it. It doesn't show multiple times. So that you have to be careful that if you happen to miss it for some odd reason, then it will go away. So let me just put it here. Yeah. And we swear to ourselves that we will not misplace it. Yeah. Because it doesn't show up again. You can always create it again if you want. And yeah. And let me, okay, one more thing, guys. Once you create the API, you will have to enable billing also onto it. As I said, right? No free lunches. But again, it's a good investment. Go to billing, click on add credit, add to credit balance, and then add $5. Minimum is $5. Maximum is 999. You add it, and then you will have it. I'll show you my users as well. Even though I am a heavy user, I've got a few apps also running. Believe me, it's really nothing. In the entire month, my team has used what, $25, which is really nothing for the entire month. Okay, so I mean, it's a very good thing to kind of learn these. And the only suggestion that I would make here is use the 4.0 model or 4.0 mini model, and I'll show you where to configure that. It's very easy because they are very cheap. Okay, so that is something that I would strongly recommend you. All right. So the first thing was to get the API, that we have gotten the API, and I showed you the process as well. Remember, you'll have to create it, and then yes, Raghav, it will be uploaded on IV's YouTube channel. Okay, now let me go back to the document here. So we gotten the API. That was the first thing that we wanted to do, and the rest of the things are okay. Now let's go to the sheet, right? You can literally open any new sheet. Let me open a new sheet. Sheet start. new, which is a Google Sheet. I could have done it in Excel as well, but that, yeah. So now this functionality to connect. I've done a few things in Excel also, guys. If you're interested, you can actually see some of my boot camps from on Ivy's YouTube channel as well. If you want to, okay. Now here we want to connect this Google Sheet with OpenAI, right? Through an API key, right? And at the same time, we want a few functionalities. So that is the reason why I'm going to use the code behind Google Sheet, which is done using something called as app script, very similar to JavaScript. But again, you do not need to know the coding, believe me, okay? I'll give you the code and I'll explain you the code as well. You can also use GPT, Chat GPT, or whatever is your favorite LLM to create the code. How do we integrate code in Google Sheet? So you go to extensions, you go to app script. And when you go to app script, you will see, it takes a few seconds. This is where, some function is there, just delete it. And the code that, I'm going to share with you, copy that code as it is and paste it here, right? Once you paste the code, then click on the save. But before you click on the save, by the way, this is where you'll have to update your own API key. The API key that I just created is this API key. You see this? So this is the API key that I uploaded, but of course you'll have to create your own API key. Again, as I said, it's a very, very small investment. If you want, you can collaborate with one of your friends as well and do it. It's lesser than eating out, guys, okay? Already. So once you have done that, just the only place that you'll have to update it, that's about it. Then save it. Once you have saved it, go back to the Google Sheet. This is hard-coded. This particular code that I have written is pretty hard-coded for now because, I didn't want to I didn't want to make the code slightly complex. That is why I decided to keep it hard-coded. Hard-coded meaning the way this code is designed, it says, write your prompt and Google Drive link in A2 and A3. And in A2, you have to write the prompt. Who's the lowest bid bowler bought, or let me say, highest bid batsman bought in IPL auction, right? Now that is the prompt. And then in A3, you have to put the Google Drive link of the file, of the CSV file where all the data is. Where is that CSV file gone? Okay, here's, okay. Here's the data. So go ahead and select. Remember to make it viewable by everyone. Anybody should be able to view it, right? And come back here and paste that link. That's it. So your prompt has to go to A2. A2, and your Google Drive has to go to A3. This is something that I have hard coded, but again, you can have that code modified easily. So once you do that, then this is where you will get the response. In B2 is where you will get the response back from the thing. But if this is the first time you're running, okay, now you've written the code, but how do you run it? You pasted the code as well. In order to run the code, you first have to save it, then select the right function, because remember, there are many functions inside it. The function that you want to run is on prompt. And I'll show you that function. I'll show you all the functions, what they're doing. But on prompt function is a very simple function. If you notice here, I can't zoom here, so I'll just show you. The first, it is saying that get the active sheet and get the prompt from A2. Do you see? Prompt from A2 and drive link from A3. You can see that, right? Drive link from A3 is hard coded. You could change it if you want, or there are other ways to make it less hard coded. And then this is just for if there is any issue accessing the drive link, then we'll get some error and we'll be locked. Then here it says extract file ID from this drive link. You see, whenever we work with any Google Sheet or Google Drive file, you will see that that file link, suppose if I paste that file link here, see this part from here to here is called as the file ID, the ID of the file. Okay. So that is what we are extracting, because that file ID, through this file ID, we can then go to the file and extract the data. Okay. Google only needs that file ID because this is Google ecosystem. Google says if it is Google Drive, if it was some other OneDrive or some other file, then we had to ask for more information. But here it is Google Drive, so I just need the file ID. So that is what is extracting this particular function. I'll show you up what this function does. Extract file ID. Let me show you. Here. It's a very simple function. It uses something called as regular expression pattern matching, and it extracted the file ID. But even if you don't understand that, what you need to understand is just extracting that file ID from the Google Drive link. And if there is any error, it will be logged here. If the file ID is not there, then it will give me an error saying that if the file ID is not found, then in B3, it will give me error saying invalid drive link, ensure the format is correct, or whatever message that you want to write, you can write it over here. Now, we are still in on-prompt function, okay? What we have done so far is we have gotten to the sheet, we have extracted the prompt, we have extracted drive link, and then we've gotten the file ID from the Google Drive link. Then these are just error messaging handling. And then what we are doing is that we are getting the CSV data, drive.app .get file by ID, file ID. This will get the CSV file, and this will get get block function these are all Google Sheets app script function. It is getting the data first as binary level object, basically the binary object of the file, and then it is converting into string. Essentially, it is getting all the data in that CSV file as string and storing it in this small variable, this variable called as CSV data, and the file information is stored in the CSV file variable here, from where we are getting the data. First the blob and then getting converted into string. And then this is the main function. Here it says fetch OpenAI response with what? With the prompt and with the CSV data. See, CSV data is the data extracted from the CSV file that we uploaded. Now, where is the prompt coming? The prompt is here. This prompt is storing what we wrote in A2 cell. So in our case, we have written who's the highest bid batsman bought in IPL auction. We could have made a better construction of the sentence, but that is what is prompt here, right? So as you can see, that is the prompt that we are passing to this function fetch OpenAI request and with the CSV data. Now let's look at this particular function. This is a custom function that we wrote here. Now this is the main function, and almost all OpenAI's query function, response and query function would look something very, very similar to what we are seeing right now on the screen. What is it doing? URL, this remains static for any completion-based API request. Now, this is where I chose the model to be GPT-4, GPT-4o. There are many LLM models by OpenAI, and every few months they launch a new model as well. You can go to their website and you can find the OpenAI pricing model, the pricing page. If you go to, you'll find all the models that they have listed and their drawbacks and benefits and whatnot, and their prices. 4o is the latest model. And this is the pricing for 4o, 2.5 for the input and and $10 for output, but you never almost 4o mini is extremely cheap if you compare, and 4o mini is also pretty powerful, to be very frank. Yeah. Now let's go back here. So if I had to use 4o mini, I just had to write 4o mini. That's it. I would strongly recommend not to use GPT-4, which is a legacy model now. It just requires more token and the response is not as great as 4.0, right? So 4.0 is what I strongly recommend. The whole code in which language is usually written. RF, you can write it in Node.js, you can write in Python, you can write in JavaScript. Here I've written in JavaScript, RF, because Google Apps Script is very similar to JavaScript. We can use, Aman, you can use any language. This is the popular ones are JavaScript and Python. I mean, Node.js, Python, these are the very, very famous ones currently. But again, I mean, depending on, so for example, I'm using Google Sheets app script, right? So that is the reason why it is very similar to JavaScript. If you're using Excel, it would have been VBA. But you see, I mean, creating those languages, creating the code in today's time using ChatGPT is not a big deal. But you should know how to edit that code, how to read and understand that code, how to where to put that code in the system, how to understand what is going on. So I'm not saying that you remain only at the surface level and not go into the details. I am going into the details so that if there are some changes, customization, errors that you're getting, you should be able to brainstorm and understand why you're getting errors. And believe me, errors you still get. So here, this is the completion. This is the 4.0 thing, and we have given the API before. And this is the system. Here, I've asked it to be a helpful assistant, but you could have more role defined for it. And this is the prompt that is coming. Remember, this is the prompt that is coming. This is the prompt that is coming along with passing the CSV data. See, it is concatenating the two, pass prompt and the CSV. Max token is 150. Max token 150 meaning the words response total should not consume more than 150 tokens. So I put like a hard limit here. You could have made it as 8,000 tokens as well if you want longer sentences. But I mean, for such task, question and answer kind of task, 100, 150 tokens are good enough. Temperature is an interesting setup, guys. Temperature defines how variable answers or how random or creative answers you want to get. The closer it is to zero, and this temperature value can vary between 0 and 2. The closer it is to zero, the more factual answers it will give you, but lesser number of words and won't be creative. And if it is more than 0.8, 0 or 1 or more than 1, then it is normally that kind of task that we recommend is for writing poems, scripts, movie action scripts, and so on and so forth. But if it is more factual in information, which is what we're trying to do, then try to keep it zero point 0.4 to zero point 0.6, 0.7 at max. So I've kept it as 0.7 because I'm okay with some creative answers as well. But if you want very crisp 1 word, 2 words kind of answer, then keep it like 0.0, 0.1, 0.2, but only for factual information. Otherwise, it look very, very non conversational in nature. Okay. Now, here is where the API key is coming from the top. Authorization. This is the API key variable. It is coming over here. And payload will be a JSON, which is one of the format of data. And then it will return after parsing the data. That's it. Literally, what you're doing here is that you're passing the prompt, you're passing the CSV data into this GPT function. And believe me, all the APIs based functions are like this. By almost all the LLM providers as well. All of them will give you an API. All of them will have an endpoint URL, which will be something like this, and a model name, and then you can set the temperature and the max token limit, and you can also set the user and the role limits. Almost all of them are very, very similar in nature. Yeah, very, very similar. Yeah, that's the main function. That is taking the prompt, the CSV data, using your API to track. This is where the API key came right into the picture to track the users and then getting the response back and then pass and returning the response back to the function. Now, here was the function, right? This is where the function was get, and whatever response we get, it will be stored in this response variable. And now we will show the response variable here, response.choices, and it'll show the response variable, which is where it is saying now show the data. This text extracted field is not required. This I was just testing something. But that is the function. So the main function here is this on prompt function, right? Now here, due to laziness, you may say, I have not created I mean, you could have also done this, that you could actually have a box here, like a button here, which triggers that function. So let me in fact create that button. Let me insert a drawing. And let me insert a shape. Come on, shape, and this looks like a good shape. And let me double click on it and let's write it as get answer now. Get the answer or answer now, or maybe send. Simple. Yeah. And I don't like the color. Let me change the color of this thing. Yeah. I close it. This is the button. And let me bring it right in the middle. Yeah. But right now, this button is not triggering the function. In order to run this function for now, what we have to do is that we have to go to app script. Now, how do you go to app script? You go to extension app script as I showed you, right? And by the way, we have saved it. Yeah, perfect. You can give it a name. IPL auction analysis code. Remember, this is code, which is, yeah, this is the code. This is the file name. Now here, this is the button, and what I want is, I don't want to come all the way to extension, then app script, and then come here, then select the right function, and then click on run. That will also run it. It'll also give you the response. If the first time if you're running it, then it'll ask you for permissions because this is, remember, it's a script. It requires some permissions in your Google Drive. If you happen to get this kind of an error, don't worry about it. It's our code. We know what we have written. So I'll just go to advanced, go to untitled project, which is fine. But of course, be wary of downloading scripts from the internet and then creating something because you don't know what that script will eventually end up doing. So now here the steps have started. I mean, the script has started and is finished now as well, that it took the drive link, extracted the file ID, and execution is complete. But where do we see the response? So you go back to the Google Drive, and then here it says the highest bid batsman in IPL auction is Shreyas Iyer, who was bought for 26.75. And people are wondering why not Rishabh Pant, because Rishabh Pant was wicket keeper and batsman, not just batsman, guys. Okay. So factually, looks like the data is and the system is working nicely and it's correct as well. Now, one thing that I wanted to show you, one more thing I wanted to show you was that suppose this button that we have created by go to insert and drawing and this button, how do we connect to the function on prompt function? So in order to do that, when you select the button here, you click on the three dots and then there is something called as assign a script. Now here is where you have to assign the exact same name on prompt. Okay. So write on prompt. And now let's see if it works or not. Now, instead of batsman, let's ask wicket keeper. Let's see if it identifies the wicket keeper or not. Now I'm going to run this in order to run after you have assigned the script, you just go to send and click anywhere under the send button and it runs it and then it gets the answer. The highest bid for a wicket keeper based on is Ishan Kishan, 11.25. Again, we are wondering why not Rishabh Pant, because Rishabh Pant is wicket keeper and batsman. Okay, not just. Can we use Gemini 1.5? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. The only thing is for that, Chandni, what you would have to do is there's this function, this payload function, which is the main function, this one. You have to look for the URL, which is the endpoint URL as it is called from Gemini. But you can actually have ChatGPT modify the same code for Gemini, and then that's it. I mean, literally, and also you'll have to update the API key at the top from to the Gemini API key, Chandni. But yeah, you can absolutely no problem. I have worked with Gemini. I've worked with Claude. I've worked with Anthropic. I've of course worked with OpenAI. I've worked with some open source LLMs as well, and there are quite a few of them now. So yeah, I mean, there are practically all of them are practically very similar in working, very easy to work. The quality of response may vary though, right? Okay, guys, let me open the floor to you guys for any question that you have. Tell me, what questions do you have? For people who are wondering whether you will get the access to the files that I've used here, including the code, including this entire tutorial, the step-by-step tutorial that I've created for you, along with the code, you will get access. I will upload it onto Ivy's YouTube channel in the description, and you will be able to do all of this. So, questions, anybody? Questions? Any career questions? Also, you can ask me. Of course, you can ask me questions from what we have done from in this tool as well. Just to repeat, step one, what are the things that we have done? We have input the data and the prompt. Data came in CSV. Script fetches the data, sends the data to GPT-4o. GPT-4o generates insights. Results are shown back in Google Sheet. These are the steps that we've done. Some questions have come. Shubham's question is here, I guess this is the work of a data analyst, whereby analysis he could answer the question, but guess because of the help, GenAI, you have automated the same process. Am I correct? Yes, Shubham, you may say partially it is correct that it could be a data analyst job to query the data and get this response, but now still it is a data analyst job maybe. It's just that data analyst becomes much more efficient to do the same. Shubham. Can we use Python? Yeah, absolutely, Python, Gautam. I mean, Python is the most suitable language, I would say, for doing most of these work, guys. And I'll show you some Python-based uh, mini application boot camps. You will find quite a few of them here under the live section, if you notice. Last week, I suppose, last week only that we did one on in Python, how to build a nutritionist GenAI chatbot. Then we had also done evolution of chat GenAI. There also we had this thing. So you will find quite a bit of Python-based chat, GPT, I mean GenAI things that we have done. Just go and explore. Okay. Can we use Akshara's question is please do also tell about the career to do so for the college second year. Akshara, I mean, almost if you ask me in today's time, I say that Gen AI is a great opportunity for any young mind, any old mind also. I mean, I've been in this industry for the last 20 years. I haven't seen such a transformational change and rapid change happening in the data in the AI world until I saw how GPT kind of tools are transforming it. And believe me, any free time that I get, I invest into Gen AI. So Gen AI is a career for all. It's a career for astrologers. It's a career for lawyers. It's a career for CA, CS. It's a career for engineer. Anybody can learn it, and you must learn it. Of course, there are different levels of learning. You do not, and not everybody needs to learn how to build an LLM. But a lot of people need to know how to use LLM services. For example, we don't care in today's time how electricity is actually created. We know, yes, electricity is created by water-based method, by nuclear-based method, but we really don't. We have learned it theoretically, but we really don't go and produce electricity. But we use electricity to produce many other things: electric car, electric bikes, and whatnot. Yes, I mean, Raman Jaya, I have also done in Python as well. If you want, I can give you one of the links after the session. You can actually go and check that out as well. Yeah, I think this is the one. Feel free to check this out. This is create a PDF document analyzer using GenAI, but this time in this one, I have done it using Python. So roadmap to learn GenAI. Let me put it on the screen actually. Probably that will be easier for you to. And I have done some workshops on this as well, specific roadmap. A few things that you want to learn, definitely, okay? One, of course, you want to learn about Python, which is not difficult, right? I mean, we've been training people in Python for last 16 years. A little bit of SQL for structured data. you have to learn about Gen AI. Now, again, as I said, even I mean, in our Gen AI program, foundation program at least, we do go into how LLM works, but we don't tell you, we don't make you or expect you to create an LLM, but we do expect you to use LLM. Okay. So I'm going to put it here as use and optimize LLMs. That is the first level of learning. And also, if you ask me, frankly, I would say that some bit of front end UI UX building, or otherwise, just have some friend who's good at it. It is optional. Let me put it like this, because there are a lot of easy resources that you can get, or a lot of tools which are already available. And finally, how to deploy an LLM software on cloud, which is again not difficult at all. In our course, we explain that it's not a problem at all. So this is the roadmap. And to do this, you do not have to have any prior background. Let me put it like this as well. Rahul, yes, UI can be handled by Google Sheet, but if you really want something like a production ready, monetizable tool, for example, I showed you this platform that we have created, right? So if you look at this particular kind of a platform, then you have to go beyond Google Sheet. This is a completely UI UX driven platform created on Next.js, but the backend is the same, believe me. Which libraries are used? Many libraries are used. I mean, not sure in terms of what perspective you'll have to use, depending on which LLM model that you're using, you'll have to probably use that LLM models library as well. But many libraries are there. If you're interested, again, as I said, I gave you a link of Python. I've mentioned the libraries that I'm using there. Is DSA required? SATA. If you have a data structure and algorithms understanding and background, it makes the life much easier. Absolutely. But is it a must? Uh, Maybe not a must thing to build API, to build Gen AI apps, but it could be a must thing to clear interviews. SATA. Sudhir. Sudhir's point is that he has learned Python, machine learning, even though he did not have a background in machine learning, in maths. Is degree important to learn or to make a career in data science or skills? If you are not targeting very, very large companies, like typical large companies, then the degrees are not so important. Um, but then you have to showcase you have done or you've worked on great projects. At IB, we take a very special focus on making our learners work on projects. That is the reason why and we make our learners star. We make them showcase their projects. So this is one of the things that we focus quite a bit, because if you do not have a if you do not have a project based understanding, or if you can't showcase projects, then it becomes very difficult. That is the reason why we showcase projects. This is very, very important. What is the difference between AI and Gen AI? Please tell the path after learning AI tools along with data analytics. Purbhasha is saying, what is the path after learning AI tools along with data analytics? You see, it's about it's about increasing your chances. In the world of data and AI, if I'm a recruiter, if I'm hiring somebody, I would expect that person to be good in Excel. As simple as that. It's like, even though I'm not expecting that guy to keep working on, or I'm expecting that guy to do a lot on Python, yet, you have to have some understanding of Excel, definitely SQL for working with structured data, some kind of visualization, because AI cannot visualize data very nicely. So you have to have a very strong one visualization tool understanding at least, whether it is Tableau, Power BI, these are the two leaders right now. You can do visualization in Python as well, with a lot of different packages which are available. But but you got to have strong visualization skills, and then Python is very important, and then learn Gen AI if you want to learn Gen AI. Sudhir, projects, just go to Ivy's YouTube channel and go to the live section. You'll find a lot of small application projects, or you can go to this library as well, and you'll find a lot of our learners projects as well. Akshara's question is, how do you get internship easily? Well, nothing comes easy. Again, you see the demand is quite a bit. I can tell you, we work with so many companies as their consulting partners, and we provide people as well. I can tell you the demand is high, but the demand is high for good people. Good people are, who are good people? People who can showcase their project level understanding. So I strongly recommend everybody, and then at Ivy, again, as I said, we make people work on 40 plus projects and cases. Some small, some big, some real industry wise. But the projects and cases are the most important thing in this world, guys. SQL, I do strongly recommend Akshara. The reason why I recommend SQL, young people to learn SQL, because all the legacy data is still stored in structured format in tables and databases. How do you extract the data from those structured relational tables if you do not know SQL? So SQL is a time-tested language, still very, very relevant. It's not very difficult to learn. Check out some of our SQL, videos. You'll find quite a few of them on Ivy's YouTube channel. The difference between, last question I'm going to take, the difference between AI and Gen AI. The difference between AI and Gen AI in, one or two sentences, if I were to explain, I would say AI helps you, traditional AI, as we say, helps you to analyze past data using statistical techniques, which are also called as machine learning techniques. To give you an example, let's say if there are 100 learners who are attending today's boot camp, and if I know how they have performed historically, if I have that data, then I can predict how well they perform in my assessment or my quiz that I will take in after today's workshop, right? Because I have got historical data available with me. And that kind of analysis and prediction can be done using traditional AI models, especially using statistical techniques. But they don't generate new things. They use past data to predict what could happen in the future with certain margin of error. That is your traditional AI, right? The generative AI is something whereby we generate new text, new images, new audios, but generate new things, right? So we are utilizing past data, but we are actually generating new things based on the patterns and trends that we have seen in the past data. So it's not just predicting, it is actually generating, which may or may not be highly accurate though, but it will generate new things. So that is, in few lines, that is the main difference between traditional AI and Gen AI. Again, on Ivy's YouTube channel, you'll find a lot of differences that we have given. I have also taken workshop. I've got some of my colleagues from the industry as well who have spoken about this subject. How to write good prompts, Gautam. So I have actually taken a workshop specifically for young folks. If you're interested in creating great prompts, then I have actually done a few workshops on how do we create prompt. Where is it? Especially if you're looking for jobs and whatnot. So this one, Ultimate Guide to ChatGPT for Freshers. Here you'll find I have spoken about great prompting techniques, and I've given a formula as well of writing great prompts. Although prompt engineering can be a subject in itself, there are a lot of research papers which have been written. But unless it is your full-time job, I would say the kind of formula that I gave there is good enough to use it. Yeah. I have also given similar formula here as well. You may want to check it out. Alrighty, guys, just a reminder, if you want to be connected with me for more questions about Gen AI career, data science career, machine learning career, I'll be more than happy to be personally connected one-to-one as well with you. Just hit me on Pratik Ivy and I'll be on LinkedIn and I'll be more than happy to be connected with you and answer all the workshops. Remember, you have one more workshop coming tomorrow as part of the series so that you can get the certificate, the Gen AI certificate. So don't miss to attend the class, attend the workshop tomorrow at same time, 6 p.m. One more question somebody asked. I'm working on ML. There's depression, many, but the issue is that their columns categorical. Oh, there's one that we can do a KNN predict, but it's not happening. Sudhir, it's a very, very specific question. I have to look at the data, do some analysis. Not the right forum to ask. Soham, I'm currently working data and as a product-based company. I really enjoyed. Thank you. Thank you, Soham. Learning these concepts is incredible for my day-to-day work. All right. Thank you, Soham. Thank you. And thanks a lot, guys. Thank you for attending today's workshop. And I'll be more than happy, as I said, to answer your one-on-one questions if you want to hit me on LinkedIn. Thank you. And do not forget to attend tomorrow's workshop again, guys. We have a new topic. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.